So yes, today and tomorrow we're using the open space methodology, which is basically designed to put the maximum power into the hands of the participants in terms of what you talk about. So you can see here that there's the agenda that we built at the start of the day. We only had the main thematic of what ideas, challenges and opportunities related to the Climate Change and Environment Network do I want to talk about. And so I asked all the participants to think about that overarching theme, and then they would each propose specific topics. And this way, what you do is you hopefully anyway, get a much greater sense of ownership on the part of the participants, because what they're proposing are topics that are the most important to them at that time. And then we start off with this grid, and we fill it up with various topics, and in fact this was full to start off with, and we consolidated a few together, so that's why we have a couple of empty spaces. But you basically create the agenda for the whole day together in the first half hour or so, and then people sign up to the different topics that they want. And you have, one of the things that I think is really quite useful about this is that in any workshop that you have anywhere, you'll have a lot of topics that people want to talk about, and if you try to schedule them in a traditional way, presentations and discussions, you will never get through all of them. So, for example, here we got through, there's even one that wasn't included in the agenda that was discussed on the side. We had about 15 different topics that we covered in some detail in one day, and so it's much easier in this kind of way where you can have a lot of parallel discussions, and people then very quickly do up reports from those things. So we don't get back into plenary and have 16 different reports all at once, but what we do is by the end of the day or shortly after that, which is now we have them all. We have a written 1 or 2 or 3 page report on every discussion, and now we can take that forward tomorrow and start looking at, okay, what are the things that we really want to spend some time on that we can do action planning on, because we can't do action planning on 15 or 16 topics. We need to focus. So tomorrow we'll focus on a few things, find out how far we can go and what we can plan in the coming weeks and months to follow up on it. So that's, in a nutshell, what the methodology is about.
We in the morning started with a selection of quite a wide range of topics, which we then put into a schedule for the whole day, so that everybody could choose what he wants to discuss with the group. I cannot go into all of the details of these different topics. I personally participated in questions like what are the options for future virtual discussions with the network? How can these virtual discussions be more effective, more result-oriented? What would be next face-to-face meetings? What are the options for the next face-to-face meetings, globally, regionally, thematic discussions on face-to-face or on thematic issues? Then we discussed in my group also what about the thematic guidance, what does adaptation to climate change means, what differences exist between entry points in adaptation to climate change compared with other focuses in development programs like rural integral approaches. And finally we discussed on how to get the dynamism we have got in these face-to-face meetings out into the yearly interaction in the network, and how to make sure that we have a more fruitful and more dynamic interaction beyond these face-to-face meetings, as these face-to-face meetings cannot be organized on a very regular basis, but we may want to make sure that the network as itself, the members of the network are in interaction during the year on a much more frequent basis. So I think in general the day has been very productive. The methodology we chose, which is this open spaces where we define the agenda, mainly on the basis of the needs of the participants, has been very successful, and I think we all have learned a lot out of these discussions. I personally prefer this sort of methodology because I think the traditional group discussions with feedbacks to the plenum takes a lot of time, a lot of repetition, and you can, in this methodology, use the time much more efficiently. So this is the short feedback from my side.